What does dreaming about scarecrows mean? One of the most interesting dreams you could have involves wide open fields in a farm somewhere, and right in the middle, maybe you notice it immediately, or maybe it kind of creeps up on you, or you just realize it until it's too late, is a scarecrow. As you probably already know, a scarecrow is just a bunch of straw bundled together inside human clothing to get rid of unwanted pests like birds that would come and eat the grain off the crops. Scarecrow by design are supposed to be scary. And it's not a surprise that when people wake up from such a dream, they feel vulnerable, scared, and whatever security they may have on something or in themselves is kind of shaken a little bit. It depends on just how impactful your dream is. If this is the type of dream you've had about scarecrows, sit up and pay attention, because your subconscious is actually speaking to you about your fight or flight response. All of us have this response system burned into our DNA. If we didn't, we wouldn't be here. That's how crucial this automatic system is in our minds as well as in our physical bodies. Your dream involves issues regarding fight or flight. Generally speaking, dreams about scarecrows involves feelings or a sense of vulnerability. This does not have to be physical vulnerability. You may not feel that somebody in front of you or somebody in your life would want to physically harm you, but it can be emotional vulnerability. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to involve evil doing on their part. They might not have any bad intentions towards you, but still, you feel vulnerable because of trust issues. You feel that you've trusted this person, or you're in a situation where you can't help but trust this person, and now you're feeling vulnerable. Do you see how this works? So, a lot of the times, when you have this type of dream, it has little to do with the person that you have issues with that trigger these feelings, but more about you, your mindset, and how you set things up in your head to the point where this is how you respond. And this, of course, leads to a sense of insecurity. You keep asking yourself, why do I always leave myself open to the point where I might get hurt? Why do I leave myself open to the point where I feel I'm dependent on somebody? And it makes you feel insecure. Again, it has little to do with what that other person is doing. They may be the kindest person on the world. Seriously, that person might be the kindest person on the planet, but it wouldn't matter. This insecurity, the sense of vulnerability, is all about you and how you have set up your mental house, so to speak. And this is why it's really important when your subconscious shows scarecrow image dreams to bring home issues regarding the mindset that you have chosen and how it ties into deeper personal needs like the need for protection, a desire for security, and a desire for acceptance and belonging. All of these are interwoven in the image of a scarecrow. But to get to the meat of your specific dream, you have to pay close attention to contextual cues. Now that you have a good idea of the general meaning of scarecrow dreams, let's dive into the context. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow in a field? This is the most common place where you can see a scarecrow. In fact, you should expect to see scarecrows in fields. This is where they're intended to be placed. Still, if this is the image that you see in your dream, this indicates that your sense of vulnerability and insecurity arise from a sense of isolation and disconnection. And what makes this tricky is that a lot of times people who meet somebody exciting or who develop really good friendships are the ones who experience this dream Not because they think that the person they're friends with or the one that they are romantically linked with is somehow bad. No. Instead, they're afraid of losing that person. They're afraid that that person is so good and they feel that they're less than perfect, that they feel kind of isolated in the relationship. Think of this as a sense of emotional imposter syndrome. And the more you entertain it, the more disconnected you feel. This has little to do with the person that you're thinking about and has everything to do with your coping mechanisms, your attitude up to this point, and how you've handled friendships and relationships up to this point in your life. Something is off because what you were doing before simply is not up to the job, because the people that are surrounding you now are actually good people. Believe it or not, they are people who are worth trusting, and you know this deep inside, and that's why you feel kind of isolated, disconnected, and you don't quite know how to act. And this is okay. The key is you need to take time to fully trust yourself, to trust others. A lot of people take a lot of time, and that's perfectly okay. A lot of people require a lot of encouragement to crawl out of their emotional shell and finally trust somebody who is worth your trust and loyalty. These people do exist. And it's perfectly understandable why you have this coping mechanism, because maybe somebody you looked up to, like maybe your father, broke the trust that he had with your mom by beating her up or cheating on her, or vice versa. Do you see how this works? But please understand that just because somebody hurt you in the past or they let you down, that not all people are like that. And at some point, you're going to have to trust. You're going to have to come out of your shell. And it takes a lot of vulnerability, but that's the way life is. Does this mean that that person that you're going to trust will be incapable of hurting you? Of course not. But that's the risk that we need to take if we want to fully live life to the fullest. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow with a missing or torn hat? A lot of the times, the distinctive feature of a scarecrow is its hat. That's how you know you're looking at a scarecrow. That's how you know that the scarecrow is intended to mimic a human form. It has a hat. It also has a shirt, but for the most part, it's the hat that gives it away. A scarecrow without a hat or a torn hat signifies a loss of protection or a feeling of being exposed. So when you see this image, the main force behind that scarecrow, the main, shall we say, kicker, or the punchline, or the linchpin to that concept is gone. So what you need to do is to tie that into a sense of being exposed. That whatever you think of threatening situations, this is an opportunity for you to reason with it, because it's not as you imagine it to be. It's not as scary as you think it is. And in reality, when you see this type of image, there really is no need to fear the scarecrow, because the hat that is supposed to trick you is no longer there. So use this as an opportunity to reestablish boundaries. Use this as an opportunity to see things in perspective, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with a coping mechanism that simply does not work at this stage of your life. It may have made sense back in the past, but not today, and definitely not in the future. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow with a broken or damaged body? A broken or damaged scarecrow can represent a sense of disintegration or a loss of control. In this context, the scarecrow represents a projection of your ego. That scarecrow is not your fears, like the other contextual interpretations, but it actually stands in for your sense of personhood, and you project a sense of disintegration or loss of control because you see your body in the place of the scarecrow, and guess what? Its body is broken, disintegrated, damaged, spread in a million pieces. Whatever the case may be, you're reading your sense of control or lack of it onto this image. And what this is telling you is that you need to stop looking for other people to blame. Stop asking what happened, with the implication that somebody else caused it or somebody is in a position of authority and they can fix it. No, the only person who is in a position of authority to change your situation is you. So stop looking for somebody to take over. Stop looking for somebody to take care of you. You have to do it. And one of the most jarring and attention-grabbing ways your subconscious can pull you away from your other fixations is to show that disintegrated body of the scarecrow. It may be hung up, it may be splattered on the floor, it doesn't matter. You see that this thing is not a fully intact scarecrow, and it is a stand-in for your ego. You've lost control. Now the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to wait for somebody to put on a cape and save you? Well, I'm telling you, if that is your strategy, that is no strategy at all, because hope is not a strategy. You're just basically hoping that somebody else will step up, that somebody else will put on their big boy pants and take care of something that you should be taking care of for yourself. In other words, when you see this image of a broken, damaged scarecrow, your subconscious is telling you it's time to be an adult. You know that things are breaking apart. This is an emergency. Maybe it's a health issue. Maybe it's a financial problem. Maybe it's your relationship hitting the rocks. Whatever the case may be, now is the time to step up. Be an adult. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow in a storm or bad weather? These types of dreams can often be cinematic. You can see the central image of the scarecrow, and in the background are these menacing gray storms complete with lightning. Everything is flashing. There's a lot of thunder, and it really is quite impressive because it draws you in. And when you see this image, you have to look at the scarecrow. Does it bend? Does it break apart? No, it's there, right in the middle. And your subconscious is telling you that even though you can sense turmoil or chaos, you will be able to find a sense of stability and calm deep inside you if you want to. Because you only need to look at your life to see and to walk away with confidence that you are able to withstand all sorts of storms. For you to even be here, to watch this video, means that you have overcome. The problem with a lot of us is that we tend to fool ourselves into thinking that overcoming adversity has to necessarily be dramatic. We imagine some sort of David versus Goliath type of emotional catharsis or transformative experience for us to allow ourselves to realize that we are able to overcome challenges. The truth is, for you to be here, you've overcome challenges. You've paid your bills. You've managed to be a responsible adult, at least up to this point, and you are able to overcome all sorts of problems. So the logical next step is to accept the fact that you have this problem-solving capability and that you can project that into the future. Because you have to understand that whatever the future brings, it's simply just a recap of what happened before. It's nothing so completely new that it catches you totally by surprise and you are fully unprepared. No, it never takes that form. It's just an incremental variation of what came before. This puts you in a tremendous position because you've handled this before. You just maybe need to make a few tweaks here and there, but you will get over it. And if you can wrap your head around this and understand it and believe it, then everything becomes possible again. Because you have what it takes. in you. You are adaptable and resourceful enough. The question is, will you trust yourself? Sadly, that's the kind of question that only you can answer. Just a quick reminder, if you are enjoying this video, please click the like button and hit subscribe. Please be sure to click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our updates. Thanks a lot. Now let's get back to our dream analysis. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow with a friendly or smiling face? With this type of dream, your main focus is not on the scarecrow's body or the field surrounding it, but the face of this creation. And what you're looking at can represent a sense of acceptance or a desire for connection. It represents your ability to accept yourself. Please understand that you will always be imperfect. While there is no shortage of people who will like you, there will always be people, for whatever reason, who will never like you. Maybe you're too short or too tall. Maybe you're too dark, too light. Maybe you're ugly in their eyes. It doesn't matter. They will find a reason. And the question is, are you willing to accept that reality, or are you going to keep hanging on to this fiction that a lot of people are suffering from, that inflicts people up until their dying days, that they have to be liked by everybody else, that they have to be validated by everybody else? People will always find a way to not like you. Understand that they have that right. Respect that right, because you also have that right. And if you're able to do that, this smiling scarecrow in your dream indicates that there will be progress in your ability to be at peace with this reality. And this, believe it or not, can make you a happier person. Because instead of devoting all this tremendous emotional and mental energy into being liked by everybody, or at least being treated in a neutral way with everybody, you can free it up to explore other areas of yourself and to fully develop yourself. Take better care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, spending money you don't have, trying to impress people who don't give a damn about you, is a race to the bottom. I'm not saying that you're alone. In fact, everybody's doing it. And that's the troubling part. But you don't have to do it. Remember, you don't have to do it. The number one person that you want to smile, that you want to accept you, that you want to wrap their arms around you every single time is you. Start there. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow in a garden or orchard? This is a weird dream because most of the time, scarecrows are placed in open fields, usually for grain crops like corn. But from time to time, people will plant a very pest-friendly crop in a garden, and there will be pests coming, and maybe out of frustration, they put up a scarecrow. At an orchard, it's definitely quite unusual. Still, I'm sure it can happen. When you see this type of dream, the scarecrow in the garden or orchard symbolizes your desire for growth, your desire for abundance, or your need to leave a legacy. And here's the thing. It's one thing to wish for growth, abundance, and legacy, and they definitely make you feel good. But it's another thing entirely to commit to them to the point that you're willing to make sacrifices so they can come true. These are two totally different things, and guess what? Most people can be counted on to do the latter. They're excited to do the former. They're excited about the concept of leaving a legacy, making a difference, changing the world for a better to a better place, so on and so forth. Be the change you want to see in the world, that kind of thing. But when the rubber meets the road and there's actual discomfort and sacrifice involved, everybody gets cold feet. And that's why heroes are few and far between. This is a very important lesson that your subconscious is trying to teach you, because it's trying to wean you off this blinding idealism that you may have. Because what you're doing is, when you're saying, I just want to be a great person, I just want to show my virtue to the world, I'm a good person, and I desire all these positive things like growth, abundance, and leaving a legacy. This is all well and good, but you're just playing shadow games. That's what I call it. That's what Carl Jung calls it. Shadow games in your mind. And you're not fooling yourself. Because if you were convincing yourself, you'd act differently. You would actually grow as a person. But what you're doing is that you're basically just entertaining yourself while sticking to the same old grind. You know that what you do for a living and what you do on a daily basis isn't really going to leave a legacy. It's just your way of making sure that there's enough food on the table until you make it to the next day and the day after that. That's how most people operate. You're not alone. So do you see how this works? So your subconscious is showing you this because it's trying to push you. It's trying to get you to make a commitment. Are you really sure that this is what you want to do? And if so, put your money where your mouth is. Make that sacrifice. For instance, if you say that you want to leave a legacy by becoming obscenely rich, how are you doing that? Are you going back to school to learn what you need to learn? Are you already out of school and are networking so you can get connected to the right people with the investment funds? Or are you bootstrapping your business because you've started? Or are you just looking at all these possibilities with a smile on your face because all these happy chemicals are being released by your mind and you're not really doing anything? Please understand that the vast majority of people are in the latter case. You don't have to join them. If you are entertaining ideas of leaving a legacy, take action on them. That's the bottom line. Start committing. Get ready for the sacrifice. What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow with a hat or other accessories? As I mentioned earlier, the hat indicates the center of power for a scarecrow. It's a center of focus, and that's what makes the scarecrow so scary in the first place, because there's this human analog in the middle of nowhere. When you see this image, and the hat is the centerpiece, it represents your identity. It represents the need for self-expression. These are two interconnected realities. For you to be a unique person, for you to seriously claim to have an identity, you must be able to express it. Otherwise, nobody would know that you have an identity because you're just another face in the crowd. In fact, unless people go out of their way, they're not even going to notice you because you blend in. That's how voiceless people look and act. Your subconscious is trying to tell you by fixating on that hat element or hat feature of a scarecrow that you have this urge to speak out. You have this urge to really make your identity stand out, but something's holding you back. Is it somebody else's comments? Do you post a lot on social media, but you don't really post what's on your mind because you feel that your comments will not get a like button or will get downvoted if you post them on Reddit? You are holding yourself back. You are the one making sure that you are a face on the crowd. You're just another face, it's another empty detail, and after enough years have passed, you pass away and nobody's going to notice. Nobody's the wiser. Is that the real kind of legacy you want to leave? But you know the answer. You know that you want to break through. The question is, do you have the courage to do that? And the good news is you only need to copy what other people are doing. Because people have done what you're trying to do, which is to stand out, assert your identity, really actively leave your personal DNA into the cultural mix and the spiritual flow of the world that sustained you for so many years. That's what you want to do. But it's not like you're starting completely blank. It's not like you're taking shots in the dark. People have done it. This doesn't mean that you have to copy them, but rest assured, somebody has done it in the past and so can you. So start where you are. Speak up. Don't be ashamed of sharing your light. If you're an artist, share your art. If you're a poet, share your words. If you're a writer, share your scripts, your stories, your novels. The worst thing that can happen is it's going to come back to you because nobody read it. But that's fine. You spoke. You took action. The things that are bumping around in your head, called ideas, were transformed into something that people, if they want to, can engage with. That is a victory in of itself. So please, if you have any kind of artistic bent to you, or if you have some sort of message that you want to share, do it now. We live in a world where getting published, meaning getting your message out there where other people can see it, has never been easier. In fact, random tweets have destroyed and turbocharged careers. Random blog posts have started amazing writing journeys and ended them. That's the kind of age we live in. The technology is there. The question is, will your willingness be there? What does it mean to dream of a scarecrow being attacked or destroyed? If you see this image, your subconscious is trying to let you know that your need for honesty is overwhelming you to the point that you run the risk of saying the wrong things the wrong way to the wrong people, and the worst outcomes will play out. It's not saying that what you're doing is wrong. It's just you have to be careful to pick the right form, to choose your words correctly, and to pick the fight that you want to struggle with. Because you're gonna fight. That's guaranteed. Because the moment you share anything into this world, you will fight. You're gonna have to defend it because it's yours. And that's just the nature of the beast, because there will always be people who will hate for the sake of hating. They're not going to go away. And in fact, if you think about it hard enough, they're your friends, because these people will criticize you no matter what. So when you improve because of the criticism, you at least position yourself in such a way that people who will give you an even shot, people who are fair, will look up at you because your stuff is quality. But on the other hand, if you start lazy and you put your worst crap out there and the haters shred you, this is the best favor they can do to you because you were lazy. They caught you slipping, so to speak. So you have two options. Either you fold and run away, or you learn from it. And this baptism of fire, as unwelcome and as rude as it may be, strengthens you. To quote the famous philosopher Nietzsche, whatever doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. So think of that. Because the scarecrow image being destroyed or attacked in your dream indicates that you are sick and tired of living life by proxy and being scared of being criticized. So now this tremendous welling, surge, whatever you want to label it, within you is coming up. And the question is, you are going to find the courage. Will you find the right form so as to maximize the impact of that courage? And again, that's the only kind of question, that's the kind of question that only you can answer. Thank you for watching this video. We appreciate your support. If you haven't already done so, please click the like button and hit subscribe. Please be sure to click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our updates. If you have any dreams you'd like us to interpret and analyze, please leave all the details in the comments. We read every comment, check frequently to see if we have released your interpretation video. To support our mission of helping people all over the world live their best lives by tapping the power of their dreams, please click the share button and share this video on all your social media accounts. Thank you so much for sharing and for your time with us by watching this video on scarecrows. We'll see you at the next video.